Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Politdigm podcast. And my name is Red, and today I'm joined by my co-host Alpha.
As usual, hello everyone.
Hello. And today is the 3rd of September, which means that wait, when did we start this? Was it we start this in July? Wait, what month is
Yeah,
July? Is it the 5th? Oh, I'm
Th-
so bad with the month.
uh,
It's the
July is the
6th.
6th.
Wait, has it been wait, have we oh shit, it's been almost 3 months. The fuck? Has it been
Yeah,
already 3 months? Damn. I mean,
yeah, it's the 10th podcast, so it's
is
been
it?
over
Is it? No, it's not the 10th
been over two
podcast. I think
months.
it's the
So
ninth podcast. I think.
no, this is the 10th, I think.
Wait, I know tomorrow the 10th blog comes out that I
We are
know.
professionals, and yes, this is the 10th podcast.
It is? Oh, then wait. Oh,
It is.
I thought there was one more like blog than episodes of the podcast for some reason.
Yeah, but you are wrong.
All right, understandable. But yeah, we are recording one day before the blog airs. There was a little bit of a I guess issue with the recording. I mean, not an issue with the recording. We just had to record a day early. That's not that much of a big of a deal. As long as we can get the everything to you guys at the wrong date. No, at the right date. That's what matters to us.
The
Um,
version slip.
so yeah, that's what we're doing. So the blog comes out tomorrow, and it's about well, it's about generally it's about healthcare, but it's more focusing on um well like medication, and basically the focus of it is the fact that patents relating to vaccination to vaccinate no to vaccines. I'm so sorry, I'm tired. To vaccines, to like just drugs in general, right, is like a
Medicine.
bad thing, is a really bad thing, and I think most people aren't aware of it because it doesn't affect barely anybody in the for example in most developed countries, because we get access to I guess more reasonable prices when it comes to drugs. But for example, if you're from the US, then you're definitely very aware of that world. So okay, I guess that's the intro then. But yeah, let's get into it. So I start off by the blog by basically talking about how patents sort of work regarding the vaccines and stuff like that. I mean, not literally how they work. I'm not going to get into the law stuff, but how these big companies essentially get away with it. And so what happens is that, for example, there was recently sort of this little ordeal in the internet. I won't really call it drama, but this popular content creator, which right now I don't remember his name, but I know his last name ends with Green, I think. He called out, I think, I don't remember which big like pharmaceutical company it was, but basically called them out saying that there was this drug which could stop this really bad disease in a developing country, but that this developing country didn't have access to these drugs to cure this disease, because, well, first of all, they're very expensive and they didn't have money to spend on it. And the reason they were so expensive is because there was only one pharmaceutical creating or distributing this drug. And since like those generic brands, pharmaceutical companies didn't have access to it because the other one had the patent for it, they're basically holding this drug hostage in a way, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so, which is really bad. But then there is a second level to it because I think that recently it was supposed like patents or they last for 20 years, and the 20th anniversary, right, was coming up, so it would be open to the public. However, if you have a patent and then you come up with the argument that, oh, hold on, we still are doing development, we're still doing further, not investigation, but actual like
Research.
not just research, actually like creating a new sort of a variety of that drug, like a new, slightly
Yeah.
better altered version.
From my
You
understanding, like minor changes, right?
Yes, you can prolong the patent again. I don't know if it's for another 20 years, but I know that it's for a long time. And so these companies can just keep doing this for like just for a really long time, For obviously just for one reason, because they want the money. They want the money that they spent on first developing these medications and these vaccines and stuff, and then that's one. But then also just out of generally wanting profit. Obviously, if you know anything about Politdigm and have watched other podcasts or read our blogs, you know that we find this shit horrendous because it is extremely just to us immoral to essentially hold people's health
Hostage.
hostage, just like we said before, because
Like you said, we find this shit.
like it's really, I mean, it's really bad, and it's crazy that that these companies do this. Now, to be fair, when it comes to that other story I was talking about, I do not know how it ended. I did not follow it through the whole process, so I don't know if they actually got access to it, if they actually repatent that drug. But I really hope they didn't. I guess I'll write that down to actually check on it on a further episode. But it is a pretty bad story, and it's kind of one of the reasons, or that story was one of the stories that sort of made me want to look into this topic and want to research it and then write a blog on it.
Yeah.
Another example is, for example, which has been happening in many countries, is stuff like, for example, insulin. Insulin is not patent, for example. That I don't think it is, but however, it's still more accessible. However, it is still really expensive, and in some countries, and in those countries, people who have diabetes need insulin, and they can't have it, and then it's a really bad thing. And there's a lot of different situations where this happens. For example, countries which have a lot of HIV, right? A disease that we with drugs can treat, or at least can contain to a degree, or with drugs can very much everything will go way smoother. But a lot of countries in Africa, I think South Africa is one of them, has a insanely, like, compared to other countries, has a really high HIV a percentage, I guess. A lot of their population has it compared to other countries because they don't have access to these types of things. And the fact that the only reason they don't have access to it is because these big companies want to make a quick buck is pretty shit. It's pretty,
Deplorable, one might
it's,
say.
yeah, it's, to me, I find it so, I don't know, it just fills me with this sort of like hatred, because it's like, how could you ever do this to anybody? Because obviously we've kind of, it's something that we've touched a lot on previous episodes, like how we just, the reason why we do this blog, these podcast episodes, and we do our blog and we do Politdigm in general, is because we look at the world around us. We look at these big companies which essentially control the world, and then we look at the governments which bend over for them, and we're
Y-
just like, what the fuck are you, what are you doing? How can you look at these people around you and have absolutely no empathy, and you're able to do this to other people, is crazy to us. And this is just one of those many things that just make me go, what the fuck? because I know that
What
if
incarnation.
because I know that if I had, a family member which was very ill, and that I was the only one who had access to that to the cure to their illness, that it never would even occur to me to be like, before you get this cure, I need you to do this, or I need you to give me some money. I could never do
Yeah,
that.
bitch.
Like, I could never do that to any of my family members, or anyone else's family members, because I just find that completely immoral. I don't care who
It's
you
a
are.
horrendous notion.
I think that having access to free healthcare is just something that everybody should have. It's something that we touch on the blog. If you want to, I guess, get a different perspective on it, you can read it. But it's something that I, not just I, but generally we at Paladine, we believe that it's something that we have, that everybody has the right to. It's something that we touch, for example, in Project Pop, because as workers, of course, you should have free healthcare. We think that everybody should have free healthcare, regardless if they work or not. But having guaranteed free healthcare at a job is already a good first step. It's not the end all be all. That should not be the only way because that is essentially what happens in the US in a lot of situations where you can only get free healthcare if you work, which is really bad. You should just have free healthcare because you exist.
Yeah.
And your governments are, that is one thing that they owe you is free healthcare. So it's everybody should be able to obviously get sick and not be worried about getting sick. I mean, obviously everybody should be
You're
worried about
not
getting sick.
die because you can't go to the hospital and get treatment.
Yeah, like if I get a common cold, I'm not worried. I shouldn't be worried about not being able to pay for my medication to make the cold go away faster, or getting sick and being afraid that I'll if I don't go to work, or in my case that doesn't happen because I'm a student, but if I wouldn't go to work, that I won't get paid for it and stuff like that.
And even
Um,
then, like capitalism just basically whispers in your ear saying, "Yeah, you're the owner of this company. Got the entire healthcare plan so you don't have to pay too much.
yeah, it's like and it's
Dental,
so.
who needs them? Vision, never heard of it." Which is also extremely fucked because those two are treated as two separate things from actual, like the main body of healthcare.
Yeah, but it's pretty appalling that you have
It's pretty
huge
shitty.
these huge pharmaceutical companies that owe a lot of. I mean, you saw that a lot of people were kind of exposed to it when it came with the COVID-19 vaccines, because there was a lot of talk about big pharmaceuticals in the news, which doesn't happen as much these days. So it definitely didn't happen as much before. But a lot of you basically just heard about like five names every day over and over again, and it's basically those five big huge companies that exist. Obviously there's others,
Yeah.
but those are the big main ones. Johnson, you have Pfizer. Fuck, which what are some other ones that I'm missing? uh
Um, I'm
who
having,
uh,
I'm drawing straws. I don't remember.
yeah, so I don't know, but there's definitely those are just good examples. But it's they own these pharmaceuticals. In fact, if you probably go to your like little I don't know if everybody has this at home, but at least I do. Just have it's just like pills and shit lying around in case we have like a headache or some shit. Or if you go to your bathroom and go look at like I don't know, some hand sanitizer or lotion, or like a body lotion or something. If you look at the back, it's either it's an actual like I don't know, some what's it called, fuck beauty products, right? So that's a
Sure.
little different. However, but if you do, like, I do remember like as a kid having this like, I mean, not as a kid, as like really as a really young child. My parents had this like a bottle of lotion, which was like a baby lotion thing,
Yeah.
for like baby's skin or
Little
some
baby
shit.
baby bitch.
And I remember it being from Johnson and Johnson. I remember seeing that name a lot in my childhood because it was just something that I would see, like, I don't know, every day that I opened the bathroom cupboard to go wash my teeth or some shit, right? So that's a name that I was very aware of. I had no clue what the fuck it was. I thought they just like made baby products or some shit, and I was like, oh no, they actually are this like huge fucking company, which have all this sort of power. And yeah, it's really appalling. There was honestly there was another thing that like inspired me to write this blog, but I for some reason I cannot remember it right now. I don't know what it was, but I do remember like sitting down. I think I was on my PC or some shit, and I saw something. And I was like, "All right, I'm writing this down. I'm doing this blog this week." But yeah, it's something that I find crazy. I find crazy the whole concept of profiting from anybody's suffering, and that's something that we talk about every episode and every
Yeah.
blog, because that is the biggest issue, in my opinion, with our world. If you really want to boil it down to one singular phrase, is profiting off of people suffering. Basically, if you really want to look at it, and that's it, is working at a job in many cases for many people is a big company or some CEOs benefiting from your suffering. If you if you're a person who needs education in many cases that is uh, some private school profiting off your kid's suffering. If you are a person again who needs medicine, that is literally uh, there's no more literal sense of profiting off somebody's suffering in that case.
Yeah.
Even a hospital, in many cases, can benefit from your suffering because they, receive sick people and then they get paid to treat you.
Yeah. But you can also look at the way of these hospitals aren't getting the full tools that they need to treat you
Yeah,
because it's so expensive.
true.
And there are some hospitals that aren't private, at least here in Europe. Like, I can give you an anecdotal case, which is me. So I have a skin condition, and it's
Alpha
really
is
advanced.
sick as fuck, but not in
I'm
the
extremely sick. Like,
but not in the
you know
sense of him
the
being cool, just him literally having every illness on the face of the planet.
yeah. So I have a skin condition, which basically makes my skin extremely sensible to everything, and also sensitive, not sensible, and also it itches all the time. So you know how annoying like when a mosquito bites you, you know how annoying the itch is, right? Imagine
Yeah,
having that all over your body because you touched the wrong kind of fabric. An example.
because you
So
breathe.
yeah, because you breathe literally. So I got admission to go into a certain project, not a project, like a type of treatment, where they would grab my body's genetic material and make up the bacteria that I lack in my system, which is causing me all these problems. You know how much that cost if I did it in a private hospital?
How much?
3 grand a dose. I do that every single month, and
Jesus
it's two
Christ.
doses. So I'll be paying 6 grand every single month.
Yeah, that's
That's what we call fucked.
that's what we call being. Yeah, I mean, uh, sorry, pardon me. I was drinking water and I got the burps. But it's yeah, it's pretty shit. I've always found it so appalling, and you always see that in like movies and TV shows, and even in the news when it comes, for example, the U.S. because it's a very good example. It's an example that literally every European jokes about, which is literally the fact that if you go to the U.S. and you break a leg, you're fucked. You like cutting off your leg is gonna be cheaper than like getting treatment for it. It's
Yeah.
it's it's pretty bad. Like you
What was the
can't.
case of that man that had COVID, survived, that the hospital bill basically killed him because it was over 250,000?
I honestly haven't heard that story, but I do know, for example, that in the U.S. You need to pay for the ambulance, and it's
Yeah.
not cheap. Which is funny because I saw somebody being like criticizing it, and then I think this was on TikTok. Somebody criticized it, then somebody stitched that TikTok and was like, "Yeah, but the ambulance is not some sort of taxi for your to go to the hospital." And then somebody else stitched it and was like, "Then what the fuck are ambulances for if they're not a
Hey,
fucking
here we
taxi?"
go. I was wrong. You want to hear the actual value?
What the oh shit, you're wrong.
Yeah,
That's
coronavirus survival comes with a $1.1 million fine.
what the fuck? How even? That one
Man
guy
gets
who
1.1 million bill after surviving 62 days in the hospital.
only six. What the
Imagine
fuck?
that. Imagine you survive COVID
And then you die of a heart attack when you get your
and you
bill.
die of a fucking heart attack.
That's probably not what happened, but yeah, that's pretty horrendous. But fuck, what was I talking about? I was talking about shit. The fuck? I don't remember. Oh right, the fucking ambulance thing, which was like
Yeah.
the other person was like, yeah, but like you don't like an ambulance isn't like an Uber to go to fucking a hospital. And it's like then what the fuck is an ambulance for? If that's literally what an ambulance is. It's literally a fucking essentially a taxi that takes you from the place you were to a fucking hospital. Are you just stupid? What the fuck are you talking about?
Ambulances are made to carry people to the hospital.
Yeah, it's like no, but that's not what they're
Uh,
for. Like, what the fuck are they
Okay,
for? It's
let's,
just
let's look at this in a structural way. So, you have a basic service that you need to pay. So people might be inclined to not use that service because you gotta pay for it.
yeah.
So less and less people get employed in that field. It's bad for everyone.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I don't know, but there was another thing which made me made me go, "What the fuck?" Which was, for example, if you are a mother,
Oh
uh,
no.
and
Oh
just
no.
gave birth to your child,
Oh
uh,
shit.
and you're at the hospital, and you want to hold your baby, you need to
You got
pay for
paid?
it. Yes,
Are you
there's a
actually
fee.
kidding?
There's a fee for you to be able to hold
Okay,
your
hold on.
baby.
Can you give me? I'm gonna be that guy. Can you give me like a source?
I don't.
There's no fucking way.
I saw the mother that
Okay.
got a receipt, but it
Okay.
was years
Okay.
ago.
Give me a
So
second.
Google it while I'm telling the rest of the
Okay.
story.
Okay.
But like, imagine you going through that insane process of giving birth, and then you're like, "Can I hold your baby?" And they're like, 500 bucks. Come on, give me 500 bucks. I don't know if it was 500 bucks, but it's like, excuse me. It probably was less, but it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? What you mean you have to hold? Because apparently in the U.S., what is normal is you give birth, they take the baby, they put it in one of those little maternity rooms, right? Those little things you see in the movies, and then you only get the baby when you leave. Like, what the fuck are you? What? No,
Okay. So I'm gonna read you. I'm gonna read you the. I'm gonna read you the
the
actual
source.
news. This appears to be a one-off case where Utah dad posts hospital bill with nearly $40 fee for skin-to-skin contact after son's birth. Uh, Let me get to the actual part, but it's important. The hospital said it could not comment on the bill, citing privacy laws in a statement provided the ABC News. The hospital explained that the charge covers an extra caregiver who has to be in the operating room and that it is actively evaluating how better to define the service. There is never a charge for a patient to hold their baby. We do everything possible to allow the mother's skin to skin contact with their newborns immediately after delivery. Only in the case of a C-section birth is an additional nurse brought into the operating room. This is to ensure. Okay, so you basically have to pay a fee if your labor involves a C-section and you need to bring an additional nurse into the room.
What the fuck? Why is she? Why is she there though? She's just like watching the person. Like,
No, like more assistance. It's more, as you can imagine, maybe giving a C-section is a bit more complicated.
yeah, but like, if all you're asking for is, "Can I hold my baby?" Why do
Yeah,
you need? Why do you need the nurse for that?
no, the nurse comes in while you're having the C-section because it's for more assistance.
Yeah, but how is that related to the skin to skin contact thing?
I'm gonna to read it again.
No,
The
don't read it
hospital
again.
explained that the charge covers extra caregiver who has to be in the operating room that is actively evaluating how better to define a service. It's not about they're not paying for skin to skin. They're paying for the time of the extra person in the room, which is still diabolical, but
I know, but
okay.
like, how does that relate to skin thing, which was what is
It
on the
does not.
receipt? Okay,
It's the allegation.
that sounds like some BS. Like
Oh, absolutely
some
said
sort of
yes, but
sounds like
it's
some
a
sort of
one-off
like, oh,
case.
it was because of this. It's like that. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a one-off case. It's a
I mean,
case
that's
that
good.
was.
That's good. I'm glad it is. But
Yeah,
I remember,
I'm sorry, but there was no way. Like, there was no
bro.
fucking way.
Honestly, I'm not surprised anymore. All the shit you hear, just like being having to pay for even like, I don't know, literally doing jack shit. Like there was, I saw this other story, for example, which again, these are stuff that happens in a country which has no regulation when it comes to this type of things. I'm not saying that they happen generally, but it is, this shit can is allowed to happen when you don't have good regulation in like just working environments. And for example, a good one is, for example, when it comes to mechanic shops in the US.
Yeah,
Uh,
those are fucked.
like, people get ripped off all the time because, for example, which is fucked. For example, I believe that there's stories of people, for example, having to leave their cars parked, for example, at the mechanic store, and them charging for their cars just sitting there, right? You know, random shit like that, which is just completely insane.
Yes.
Uh, or I'm trying to think of another one that I saw once. I think it was like somebody went to like get their oil changed or some shit, right? Some basic shit. And because there was like some sort of like I don't know. I guess the person, like the mechanic, was busy with something else. They still like basically made the person pay the amount of time that they actually spent from start to stop, but didn't actually take into account how long they actually took to to do the thing. Right?
I
It's
love
like
capitalism.
imagine like in a week, right? Instead of counting when you start and stop working every day, you start counting how when you started working on Monday, and then you stop counting when you stop working on Friday, right? You know, and still counting the hours you were sleeping and shit like that, right? You can't do that because that's not how you do it. But it was something along those lines, not as extreme as this example, but it was definitely some shit like that where it was the mechanic's fault for not fixing the car immediately when it was something you could do in a couple of hours that they like dragged on for way too long. So the person didn't have their car, and then they had to pay this insane amount.
Okay, I'm
Uh,
going to be honest. We see that in Portugal.
yeah, I mean, you see that
I have
in a lot of
technicians in a mechanic shop in my area, exactly with them doing that kind of stuff
yeah.
to a friend of mine.
So it's happened to me and my parents before. This was not in Portugal, but this was
So it's just
in Belgium,
subhuman behavior. It's not
which
very thin
was
subhuman behavior.
like, I think it was, for example, which is something that is really dumb, which is like we left our car at the Mercedes like mechanics shop store, because like um dealerships
Some
have
motherfucker.
their own like mechanics or whatever, and
Yeah.
we left it there, and then they were like, we left the car there the entire day, and then we like, my dad at the end of the day like called him like, all right, what's the deal? And they're like, oh yeah, we don't know, we haven't checked the car yet. It's like, what the fuck, why did I leave the car there then? Like,
Yep.
I left the car on this day, we agreed on this day, not for you for me to leave the car there and just you to just forget about it. No, I left it there because you were supposed to, work on it as soon as possible. And if you couldn't do it that day, then no, let us know to put it there some other day, right? So it's, first of all, it's a lot of issues when it comes to like just time management, which to be fair isn't, I guess, obviously it's a bitch, but like it still just depends on the business's ability to actually give a fuck, right?
Yeah.
And then it's just like a lack of transparency, which is a lot of that's a big issue when it comes to a lot of businesses,
Businesses. Yeah.
is a lack of transparency in this very shady behavior, which is not, in most cases they don't do it out of like a place of malice, but it's purely just the standard, honestly. And most people don't like it. That's why once in a while, when you go to a company or buy a product from a smaller company or whatever, and you get actual transparency, you're like, oh shit, I fuck with this. I like
What do
this.
you mean? This is unusual.
Yeah, but what's it's not the fact that it's unusual is the problem. That should be the standard. The
Yeah,
standard,
that should be the golden standard, but no, fuck you.
like
Who gives
like
nurturing clients? What is that?
brands literally just these companies. All they do is serve their customers, and if they don't serve their customers, if they don't get, or they're not willing to get feedback from their customers, if they're just willing to do whatever the fuck they feel like it, or do what is not the best for the customers but what is best for
For
their
them.
shareholders and etc., then that's not really that's not good. That's not good. And as a
Getting
person
to
who studies marketing, I hear about this all the time. That is something that we've studied, which is the idea that, companies, and you should always, when you have a business or stuff like that, you should focus on your customers, the happiness of your customers, etc., instead of like focusing on trying to, have the biggest possible profit, right? I mean, obviously you need to manage it between the two, but you can't just like, yeah, sure, I'll just go broke because I gotta, make products so cheap that I'm not even going to be able to pay for how much I spend on them. But you also need to take into account of being like, all right, like charging way over the price, which is something, for example, that Nvidia does. Apparently, they're like consumer grade like graphic cards. No, I think it was their server graphic cards cost, or like have like a profit margin of 1,000%. They cost 10 times more than they actually cost to produce, which is insane. What the
yeah.
fuck? They do not need that much money. So stuff like that. But um, speaking of um,
The evils
people,
of corporation.
Let's move on to another topic, which is something that we've covered before. There's a blog about
And
it,
also about dealing with
but
corporations.
there's news. There's news regarding the Hollywood strikes, regarding the Writers Guild and SAG-AFTRA. So the big news of the week is that SAG-AFTRA is thinking about including actors who, or not including actors, including studios, gaming studios, in their strike. This would be a big deal because these gaming studios or game studios absolutely, I mean, kind of deserve having their actors and their workers on strike because they constantly get overworked. They don't. A lot of them will get paid overtime, and a lot of them are put. Fuck, what's the term? They get put on. Shit. Help me out, Alpha. Um,
Uh,
when they like,
paid leave,
no, no, no.
unpaid leave,
When they're made to work too fast. Shit. What's the call?
uh,
Fuck.
uh,
Uh,
brain broken.
yeah, I can remember
Sorry,
the
who
name.
this?
Shit. Sorry, listeners.
Overtime?
I mean, yeah, it's overtime, but it's not just overtime. It's just generally like doing overtime for months, like periods of like months. I'm sure there's a listener right now that's like screaming at us, like, "It's fucking this word, you dumb fucks." Uh, shit. Ah, fuck. I gotta Google it. Hold on. But yeah, it's definitely a bit
A
not a
bit.
business, not a business. It's a shit. Why can't I remember any
It
word right
is a
now?
shit.
No, that's not the word I'm looking for, you dumbass.
Uh, fuck.
Industry. That's the word I'm looking for. It's an industry that is very exploitative of their workers, and you saw that, for example, um, with the animation studios thinking about unionizing and voting on unionizing when you know the writer guilds strike started, then the actors guilds union started striking. So it's a lot of, you know, as when one union starts striking, then another one that's connected will start striking, and then there's like this sort of evolution, right? Of everybody being like, wait, if they deserve more, then don't we also deserve more? And yeah,
You guys are getting unions?
yeah, like I want unions. Yeah, like
You get a union.
unionizing is something that's very important because it gives power to the workers, and the workers at the end of the day are the one who, you know, like they are the
Yeah.
ones who produce everything, regardless of what interest not interest, whatever industry you're in. If that is acting, if you're an actor, if you are a writer, if you are a person working at a, I don't know, a sweatshop, right? It's you. If it wasn't for you, this company would have nothing. Therefore, you're the one who truly controls it, and that's a lot of thing. It's a thing that also a lot of workers, I feel like, don't have that sort of awareness, right? And it seems like there's this like, I know, I feel like there's a lot of people that I at least know IRL which have this sort of like zombie mentality of just being like, hey, it is what it is. I can't do anything about it, and they'll just like keep working for these really bad corporations in these horrendous conditions.
Conditions.
When in reality, if every worker which complains about that stuff actually came together, unionized, and then fought for their rights, everything would change. And that's something that every worker should do. Every worker should be a part of a union. Every business should have a union. And obviously, there's a lot of businesses, for example, like Starbucks, who try to do union busting. If you don't know what union busting is, essentially just the act of trying to make sure that unions
Yeah.
can't be formed.
Look at Amazon, for example, which is one of the biggest cases,
Yeah, and
which completely fucking backfired, by the way.
yeah, and a lot of these companies also are then also lobby governments and politicians to be against unions so that they can further, you know,
AKA corruption.
for example, Pepsi. Pepsi is a big backer of anti-union politicians. So is Amazon, Starbucks, basically these huge
All
companies
the
that
thugs.
these huge companies that you like, all or anti-union, and we at Politdigm, you know, we have Project Pop. Project Pop is one of our essentially values of Project Pop is exactly that: is being able to give power to the worker, is letting workers unionize. And in fact, we believe that in a further stage of Project Pop, when it, oops, sorry, got a burp real quick. When Project Pop evolves more and becomes bigger, the idea is that which is essentially what we truly believe in, is that the workers are the ones who should be in power of the company, because that they are the ones who control, they're the ones who build stuff, so they're the ones who should be the ones who dictate what happens or not just this one person that dictates everything, gets all the money, and then everybody else is miserable. That is not fair. And if you're like, oh, that doesn't work, that's it, it's not
Feasible.
it's not feasible, it's not realistic. Well, that's not true. There's already a lot of companies which have democratically elected leaders, where they hold votings, and they decide, okay, who is the leader of the company, and then everybody gets paid an equal amount. I believe Alpha, if you can, whilst I'm talking about this, I believe there's a gaming studio which has exactly done this, and there was a report which was like, company does this, everybody at it in there is happy and nobody's depressed. What a shock, right? Or something like that, which is like,
Yeah.
yeah, like shocking, right?
What a shock.
It's crazy that when everybody gets paid really well, when they have regular working hours, when they are
They
not,
are mentally fucked.
when they're being, when they're being overworked, and they can be with their families, they can actually have more creative power over the projects. Because, for example, one of my favorite games of all time has been Overwatch, and the game has been completely fucked over by the fact that Blizzard Activision just cares about their shareholders.
Sucks.
Whilst I'm not saying that everybody that, every developer at Blizzard, when it comes to specifically Overwatch, has great ideas, I do think that they generally had a cool idea for the game, and then they had to oblige to their overlords at Blizzard Activision, and which example, which the reason why the PVE thing was canceled, if you really care about that. But it's stuff like that. It's these cool games, something that me and Alpha really care. We really like gaming, and so getting these awesome projects constantly fucked over because they are just not the most economically viable things. Not saying that there's games out there most games aren't going to be like something that's gonna be a economical destruction or some shit. I don't know how to explain it otherwise. But the reality is that these companies don't want something that is, fair for everybody. They want the best for them, right? That's why we have battle passes in every fucking game now, because it gives a shit ton of money to the developers and to these companies, and they do not care that we don't like them. I think everybody has made it pretty clear that we don't like battle passes, yet they still exist.
You know how much Activision Blizzard did on Call of Duty loot boxes last year?
It was was it like a half a billion or some shit?
Give me 1 second.
Okay, I thought you knew the number, but for
Yeah,
example, a good
I
example,
want to be
which
sure. I want to be sure because it's fucking appalling.
a game that
Uh,
I'm sure that Alpha probably has wet dreams of, but Baldur's Gate 3.
oh,
Yeah, see, there you go. That game was a fully finished, fleshed out game that they launched. Has no microtransactions. It's a full game that was launched and is ready to play. Right there, there's minimal bugs. There's always going to
okay.
be some
Here
bugs,
we go.
and
Here we
so
go.
that's the type of
Wait, how
games that
much?
we want.
How
Sorry, go
much
ahead.
do you think it was for microtransactions in 3 months?
I'm gonna say half a billion. I don't know.
No, 1.2 billion
Oh, I thought I was going. Oh, I thought I was being excessive. Oh shit. Okay, it was more than I said. Holy
in
shit.
microtransactions only in 3 months.
Yeah,
Just
that's
so we clear this up, microtransactions don't include the actual game.
yeah.
It's only the things that you can purchase
I mean,
inside the game. Micropayments, so payments for currency,
yeah. Like,
not loot boxes, not the actual games, just how much people are spending inside them. There's a whole rabbit hole about Activision Blizzard purposefully ignoring hacks and unsecure peer-to-peer connection on their multiplayer games on PC, and taking down servers made by fans of those games that guarantee secure connection because those same servers unlock all the cosmetics
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, yeah. There was, I think it was Black Ops 2, I believe, which there was like
Yeah,
this
Black
whole,
Ops 3.
was it 3 or 2? I don't remember
Yeah,
which
it
one.
was both.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
basically the way that those connections work is it's not like you have a server and everyone's connected to the server. It's everyone is connected to everyone, basically like a tunnel. And
Yeah, it's
at
like,
each end of the tunnel, you have a door that leads directly to your PC. And if you're not careful enough, people can either open that door or purposefully put on a lock, which they know how to crack to access your PC. And another anecdotal evidence: the person that made a video that got me aware of this issue told about a friend of his which was playing a private match on multiplayer on COD Infinite, if I'm not mistaken, which is one of the least popular COD games. And they left the computer, went to the bathroom, and when they got back to the computer, their mouse was moving on its own. So they rushed, plugged everything out from the power sockets, and just waited from a
that's
private lobby. And these games are still being sold as multiplayer experiences on PC, and Activision Blizzard is fully aware of these problems.
that's honestly, I'll be honest. I hope this doesn't bite me in the ass because I think it's the first time I've ever said this publicly. That story right there, coming to my PC and see somebody else controlling, is literally my biggest fear. That shit scares the shit out of me. Not that I have
Yeah,
anything really to hide, but just the idea that
a
I
complete invasion.
like the idea that like to me my PC, my phone are like such like personal, like safe spaces for me, and the idea that somebody violates it is something that I would literally make me have such an anxiety attack that I would rather kill myself to live through it. It sounds, sorry for getting so depressing and so morbid there, but that is,
That
fuck
sounds
me.
like some Gen Z incel
That
thing.
sounds some shit that
But I understand.
sounds like something that my therapist should probably hear about.
But I completely understand.
But
I
it,
don't imagine like my PC is basically it's one of my best friends.
it's
It's
my
also my
girlfriend.
workstation. No, not that far because I don't have one. It's my workstation.
It's my
It's
boyfriend. But
okay, not that one either. Uh, it's where I have all of my most personal moments with a lot of people that I know, where I've laughed, I've cried, I've fucking yelled at my PC. I've spent countless hours standing in front of it, either crunching multiplayer games or just doing schoolwork or listening to music or browsing YouTube. And the idea that someone could just completely break up this extremely personal and safe space is akin to someone robbing your house. And then you're
yeah.
trying to live afterwards with the full notion that if someone wants to, they can just break in.
Yeah, true. I mean, yeah, that's in that sense, it's even worse than actually getting like get your house breaking into, because at least you can like get better security, and like and better security is something that's in a house is something that is honestly a little bit more palpable, right? You can see it yourself, you can understand how it works. But most people, when they
Yeah.
get a better antivirus or some shit on their PC, that's not something you really understand that it's better. It's something that you're just trusting, that is. So you're like, sure, you might have fixed the problem, but you don't know you did. To
Yeah.
if for all your knowledge, that
And
person is
someone
still in
can
your computer
and
for,
someone can always just go back in. Like
yeah, like they could be watching you through your webcam. You don't know. Like it's something that is
that's why
terrifying.
I don't have one. In every laptop that I've had till today, I block the webcam with something.
It's something, yes, Sam. It's something that is terrifying. But going back to, like, for example, Activision having these issues in their games, you see that in GTA 5. GTA 5, one of the most
Yeah.
popular multiplayer games ever made, is a game which has profited millions, a billion, sorry, which has even recently decided to create things like GTA Online Plus, which is a subscription. They removed a bunch of cars. They did all these different things to get even to make the game even more profitable for Take Two, which is the name of the the
Yeah.
owners of Rockstar
GTA
Games.
is going to VR even, which is a luxury.
And guess what? The reason I well, first of all, the reason I actually stopped playing GTA is because I started playing Cyberpunk. which is kind of weird because Cyberpunk is literally a game where you live in a capitalist dystopia, and so it's infinitely a more capitalist game in terms of theme than GTA. But GTA, in my opinion, is an actual more capitalist game um, than fucking Cyberpunk, because when you start looking at it, it is so it's like the most evil shit imaginable. They are trying to constantly profit from you. The game is unplayable if you don't do it with microtransactions. And if you're like, oh, it is playable, you can do stuff. Yeah, but you will work. You need to like do 100 hours of missions to get
Yeah.
anything. It is so hard to play that game, and it's not out of like, oh, it's hard because the
No, the
game
game is
difficult
stacked
the
against you.
game difficulty is not hard. It's that it's everything has been made so expensive, so unaccessible, that it's basically like it's in that sense it's like, yeah, it's a good real life simulator if you're a fucking poor fucker and you want to do anything in life and you're getting constantly fucked by a huge company. That is how the
I
game
wanted to
feels.
give two examples of successful games that made a lot of money, but didn't employ these kinds of predatory
Yeah, wait, let
tactics.
me just finish the thing about GTA, because
Sure.
another thing which really pissed me off is, first of all, I was playing the game for a long time last summer, and then I got banned. I got banned because I was apparently cheating. I was not cheating. I was using an
Being good.
exploit in the game. Now, in my opinion, using a glitch, using a failure in their own code without any outside code, just purely using the game mechanics to my own advantage, is not cheating. It is using a feature. That's my opinion. But hey, whatever. That was one thing. Whatever. I got banned. Yeah, sure. I was doing something that I wasn't supposed to. Whatever. I got banned. It is what it is. I came back to the game. I lost everything. I started playing the game. Didn't really like it anymore because I lost everything. All my work was gone. And I was like super demotivated. But then, whilst I was playing the game, like in my second life, quote unquote, I started noticing something which was really fun. So this is one of the most, if not the most successful game ever. They're constantly trying to make more money out of you, but there's fuckers in the game chat constantly leaking people's IP addresses
The what now?
because the game is insanely insecure, unsecure when it comes to
The
people's
game is
data and
insecure.
shit like that. There was also a report. I was at some point like just chilling on TikTok. I was like, yeah, there's this new security issue in GTA that if you go online, they can hijack your account and they can do all these different things. And I'm like,
Oh,
I'm not gonna play
okay.
this. I'm not gonna play this fucking game anymore. I'm sick of this
Yeah.
shit. Like, I'm sick of constantly. First of all, they're making any abundance amount of money. They're constantly trying to expand the game, but actually fixing the game and making sure that their customers are in constant threat to these hackers and these other people who literally can find their addresses, can do God knows what, can do blackmail if they wanted to. I'm not playing a game like that. I'm just not. It's not great. And then you find out that the CEO of Rockstar or Take Two, that his fucking salary was doubled to like 500 million or some shit like that a year. I'm like, what the fuck? No, I refuse to play. I refuse to play GTA. That's my.
Based.
Yeah, sorry. Go. What was the other two games that you talked about?
It's just so that people don't say, "Oh, it's so they gotta do business so they can work out." No, not at all. So, first of all, MMORPGs are known to be really pay to win. And if it's
Yeah,
not pay to win, it's subscription based. Think of World of Warcraft, think of even like EVE Online. You gotta pay. You gotta pay to play the game.
yeah,
And then I found out about a sandbox MMORPG, which I played for a long time and I really liked, called Albion Online. The main thing that I liked about Albion Online is that you had a premium system, which worked off two currencies. You had silver and you had gold. Silver was the amount of money that you got from doing normal activities, and gold could be bought either with real money or with silver, and you bought premium with gold. So, when I started playing, you needed 8 million silver to buy premium. And after you bought premium, every single month you get, it's like renewable. You gotta renew it every single month. But while you had premium on that month, you had a lot of challenges that you can accomplish, which would give you even more money. And with premium, you would get more money. You could have a farm and create crops which sell for more money, etc. So I ended up for basically 70% of my playthrough of 2 years of Albion Online having premium without paying 1 cent.
Yep.
And the game had cosmetics, which would pay with real money, and you could also pay for premium with real money. But you could never buy silver with real money. And silver was the stuff that you used to buy actual things inside the game. So there was never any kind of pay to win.
Yep.
Second example, and I'm gonna get clowned on, but fuck it. League of fucking Legends.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
Oh.
So League is fucked. I love and hate that game at the same time. And I dread every single day that I wake up because I know I'm gonna have to teach to play it. It's better now. I'm getting my fix. So one of those things that League is praised to do is being one of the first, if not the first, free to play games that weren't pay to win. Because it did exactly that. You don't have to pay to win. You only pay to get cosmetics, and even then, you can get cosmetics for free. It's not like rigged like Overwatch. For example, you have a tier of skins in League, with the highest being the mythic skins. There are currently 7 mythic skins out of the 3,000 skins, which are needlessly complicated, pretty, and expensive, like $30 per skin. I got 2 of them for free because of rerolls. So, and now actually League is coming under fire because they made a thing where if you want to get like a special skin for a character, which is basically just a recolor of a normal skin, you gotta buy capsules, but you gotta spend the equivalent of 200 euros on capsules to guarantee that you'll get the skin. It's a whole new problem.
Yeah, but like I think that is something that I want to kind of focus on before we end the episode
Yeah.
is exactly something that I truly believe in. For example, I'm a big comic book fan,
Hell yeah.
and there's something I really enjoy reading. They're in fact almost the only thing that I enjoy reading because they have pictures. Uh,
Fuck.
and my ADHD, my undiagnosed ADHD brain it could not give less of a fuck about a blank page with letters on it. I need
Guilt
the
issue.
I need the stimulants, right? So it's something that I really enjoy reading. And I was thinking, for example, I I hate subscriptions. I fucking hate subscriptions. I despise subscriptions. And for
Yeah.
example, I would never in my life if like for example, I really like DC comics, right? I'm not a big Marvel fan. I mean, I like Marvel, but I'm not a Marvel like fan, right? I just like Marvel. So if DC went to me, if Warner Brothers or whatever went to me, I was like, hey, we have this subscription, which will allow you to like get access to comic books every month, right? For free. But then when you stop paying, we'll take them away from you. And I wouldn't take
No.
it because I fucking hate that. I hate the whole concept of not owning something. I know that it's kind of funny when we're like it's this regressive when we talk about socialism, we talk about capitalism, which believes a lot in like public property, right? But it's, but there's also I also believe in when you invest into something, right? When you invest, for example, into a comic book, or you
Yeah.
invest into, for example, a game, which is what we were just talking about. Let's now focus on the game. I when I buy a game, I want to own that game. I want to be able to do what I want with that game, unless it affects others. For example, in a multiplayer setting, then fine. You can't do whatever you want with the game. Which, for example, to be fair, for example, GTA doesn't really care that much about if you do cheating or if you mod the game offline. They don't care because that's your part of the game. But then obviously multiplayer, they don't. I mean, in the multiplayer, they let you do that anyways. But whatever, that's a whole different issue. But for example, I bought Cyberpunk. I own a copy of Cyberpunk. I recently bought their DLC on pre-order. That game is mine. Everything that I do in there is my problem, right? At no point has CDPR been like, yeah, let's now take away something from you from the game because you didn't buy a subscription, or do this or do something like that. Like I like to own my games. For example, I own a PlayStation 5, and whilst I, for example, just today played on it, I played the newest Need for Speed game. That's a nice game, but for example, I can't play multiplayer. Why? Because I refuse to buy PlayStation Plus, and I think that it's an absolute atrocity, an insane immoral bullshit that I bought a console, not a cheap console. I then bought a game which was not cheap, and then I still have to buy a subscription to play the game that I bought with my own money on a console that I bought with my own money. The fact that I still have to pay a subscription to be able to play the game that I already bought, I find that complete and utter bullshit. So I can't enjoy the game fully because guess what? I don't want to buy this subscription.
Yeah.
Stuff like that I hate because I think that it's complete and utter bullshit. The idea that you bought something and that then you get your uh, the thing not fully unlocked because you don't have this other subscription, complete bullshit. If it's something like which is something that the game also has, which is like if you get a subscription to EA something, or if you buy if you do microtransactions, you get access to one like new different cars, or you get like access to these little sort of cool new looks to these already existing cars. That I don't
Yeah.
really care about. That's fine. That's basically the equivalent of what.
Kickstarter. It's for who wants to spend money.
Yeah, like it's for example, was something that I really liked about Overwatch 1 was that the game was paid, it was $60, then it became cheaper, but I bought it when it was still full price, or when
I
it's the
didn't.
original. Yeah, well, you didn't pay shit because I bought you
I
Overwatch, so shut
know.
up. But yeah, when I originally bought Overwatch, it was $60, and I bought the game. I then owned everything on the game. I had my own skins, I had everything, and then in the game, if I never paid a single, I never bought anything for that game. The only time I actually bought anything was then when I kind of got into the Overwatch 2 hype, and I was actually excited for it, and I bought this like Overwatch 2 Horizons thing, which gave me access to some shit for free and stuff. I mean, for free it wasn't, but they gave me some shit like some special limited edition shit or some shit like that. I don't know. I don't really know why I invested it because I honestly regret it now. Uh, but the reality is that I bought the game and everything after that was free. And then in Overwatch 2, they had the exact opposite idea, which was the game is now free. And then if you want to do anything, you have to pay for it. And I hate that. I much rather pay an insane amount of money for a game and then get everything for free
I mean, like, I
than
don't want to pay $70 for a game, but
no. But if you pay $70 for a game and then you're sure that you'll never pay anything ever again, that everything that ever comes out for that game is for free,
then, okay, you pay the
sure.
$70, pay 20 plus for a
But the
skin.
reality is that, for
It's
example,
fucked.
a Overwatch Battle Pass costs €10. The original game costs 60, which means that in 6 months you already pay the original game. It means that
Yeah.
in a year you already pay double than that. And then if you buy all the different little other stuff, if you pay all the bundles, if you pay all these different things, bro, 6 skins in Overwatch cost €60. 6 skins. That is stupid. What the fuck? Like it doesn't make sense. Like I would rather have paid
It's
60
not
euros
stupid.
once,
It's fucking diabolical.
and like that's something I hate. Like for example, what I did with Cyberpunk, right? Going back to that, it's my favorite game, but I bought the game, I now bought the DLC because I wanted to. Yes, it added some little things, but I bought the game. I bought the DLC because first of all, I love the game, and it adds on to it. And it's literally the if you know anything about The Witcher or anything that City Project Red does, you are now aware that the Cyberpunk DLC is the biggest DLC that it ever made, which means that they basically are redoing half of the game, which is insane. To me,
Yeah.
that's worth the actual, the price I'm paying. But if they were doing some random bullshit that I saw, now that's fine. I already own the game, already enjoy the main game, then I wouldn't buy it. But that's giving me a choice as a consumer, right? Now, if you're saying like, oh yeah, Cyberpunk is free, but now if you want to get updates or get anything new, you have to pay these consistent subscriptions, which is basically what Overwatch did with now PVE missions being paid for, and not being like, oh, you have to pay like, which is what originally there was kind of the idea, which was you had the main game, which was free, which is something that I think COD does, which is like having one part of the game for free and then having the another part paid for it. Which okay, understandable. That's not a bad idea. If you just want to play one, if you just want to play the main thing that everybody plays, then you get the free version. But then if you want to get into like the more niche thing, sure, you pay an extra. That's I also don't mind that because then it's basically like a DLC, right? But like the idea was, all right, you have the main PvP, which is free, and then you have the PvE, which is like I mean, I didn't hope it was a subscription, but at least it was like this extra thing which you maybe bought, like this like pass, right? You bought this pass once, you have access to it. If it was that, that would have been fine. But now every time a mission comes out, you have to pay like $15. Every mission. Not like once, every mission you have to pay for it. That is crazy to me. And it's not even I don't even think it's included in the battle pass, if I believe. So it's like just consistently everything in that game
This
is
is
now
one of the
paid
reasons
for.
why I hate Fortnite.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah,
I mean, Fortnite, to be fair, it's mostly just cosmetics. They never really put anything behind, like any gameplay behind a paywall, to be fair.
but they put the cosmetics and everyone just followed suit.
Yeah, but I never cared about cosmetics, so it is what it is.
Well, in a game where you get bullied if you have a normal skin, and it's
Yeah,
mainly for kids,
I know that, but
and
that's
if
that's a
someone is
different issue.
vulnerable,
That's
if
that's
someone
that's
is vulnerable to social pressure, it's fucking kids.
yeah, that's a different moral issue to me. That's focus. That's like targeting kids. That's like, I mean,
They are
basically
targeting our kids.
like
Sorry.
they're basically using the fact. I mean, that's something that technically Apple does in a way, which is simple, which I find hilarious. The idea that in the U.S. kids get bullied because they have Android phones, which is like what the fuck. Like, I mean, in Europe we kind of joke about it, but we don't take it seriously. Like, sure there'll be the casual, what's better, Android or Apple, but usually the conversation will end after 2 minutes because in reality we don't really care,
I
right?
prefer Apple. I prefer Samsung. Okay.
Sorry, yeah, I mean, I like this because of this, and I like this because of this. And it's like,
The
okay,
difference: one company was made by Asians, the other was
understand.
made by rich people in America.
And it's like, sure, whatever, but then they're also produced in Asia, so it's the
Yeah.
same shit at the end of the day.
No,
But
it's like the whole thing about Harley Davidson being like, it's a strong American brand represents freedom. And then you check most of the bikes were made in other countries because it was cheaper.
yeah, but not going to that bit because that's not the point of the conversation right now. But we'll get into another vlog probably, uh,
Yeah.
or another podcast. But
Stupid
it's
patriotism.
yeah, it's crazy that I hate not owning the things I buy. That's that's the fact of it.
But
And
like, like the trend that you see now in cars where you buy the car,
yeah,
then
oh
you
my
could buy
god,
another subscription fee to get
yeah,
like the heated seats and stuff, which is stupid because they're not retracting the heated seats from the actual cost of the car. You're
yeah.
already paying the car with the heated seats. What you're basically doing is you're paying the car and then you're paying for the right to use the thing that you just bought.
Yeah,
And with
I don't
electric
like.
cars, like fast charging and extra battery range can also be bought by like it's offline. It's a complete piece of software.
Yeah, that's bullshit. There's
Absolutely.
to be fair, when it came to, for example, combustion cars, that mostly happens in electric cars, right? It's
Yeah,
when it
yeah.
came to combustion cars, there was already sort of a version of that, which was, for example, your car would be detuned or wouldn't be tuned to its fullest, uh, which that already I didn't like. But usually, whatever, it wasn't a subscription or something that you would pay after. It was
Yeah.
something that you
It's
can
just a service that you do.
something that you buy when you buy the car, right? It was
Like
like an
here
extra
in
package.
motorcycle companies, you can get the ECU flashed.
Yeah, yeah, stuff.
So,
Essentially, it's the same thing, right? But
but
then,
I first learned of that because of Zero, which is basically the big dick player in motorcycle electric motorcycles currently. So Zero, Energica, and Livewire are the main three.
hmm,
And Zero does exactly that. You pay $20,000 for a bike, and then you gotta pay extra for extra battery range, fast charging, heated grips, and navigation. And it's not subtracted from the original cost of the bike. It's not like, oh, they're giving you a bike cheaper, and then if you want, you can get these things. No, you buy the bike with those costs in mind.
yeah, because
You are paying
they're already
2,000
there.
bucks.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're paying 2,000. You're paying $20,000 for the bike, the battery range, the fast charging, and etc. And then they are restricting the bike so you can monthly, monthly pay them even more money, which is more than a dick move. It's abhorrent and it's extremely predatory and it disgusts me.
it's more than a dick move. It's a whole orgy. Sorry.
Okay.
I mean, it does kind of feel like it getting fucked by an
I
orgy.
mean, you feel like you're getting fucked.
Yeah,
It's not an orgy, it's a gangbang, and you are the main person.
yeah, it's I hate it, but We actually could do a whole. We should do a blog post about that. About
Yeah, I think
the.
it will be more suited for you.
True. We will. All right. It'll probably come out soon. But I'm actually write that down. Otherwise, I'm gonna fucking forget.
Yeah,
But whilst I do that
it,
way,
yeah. Red joke
immoral.
said I'm the one with Alzheimer, but to be honest, we're both forgetful as shit.
No, no,
So
no. But don't compare me. This motherfucker will tell me the same thing 3 times in one day. I just forget things. That's different.
I gotta cope with somehow.
Immoral buying stuff.
Immoral buying
Games,
stuff.
games, cars. Yes.
Okay,
My brain knows what this means, and it means nothing. No. But
just
anyways,
watch them like in 2 days. Wake up, see the note, being like, "What the fuck was
what
I
the fuck
on?"
does this mean? No, I'll write it down properly on my phone after this. But yeah. Anyways, speaking about spending money on monthly subscriptions,
You should
uh,
actually spend money on a good monthly subscription, which makes us
uh,
sound like hypocrites, doesn't it?
yeah, it does. It does not sound. That is not a good segue.
That
But
is not a good segue.
however, however, we allow you to watch all our content for free, and all the only
You
thing that
do own it.
I mean, you do not own it. I mean, do no, we own it. Hold on,
We-
but
You are
no,
part
but
of the brand. You are the CEO.
the difference is that we're not we're not swimming in money, and we actually need this to grow our brand. Therefore, yeah. If you want to support us, if you want to help us out, if you want us to make Politdigm better again or better, what? Sorry, that was a
Make
weird reference.
all time better again.
Yeah, we're going for the Make
We're going for
America.
the fascism angle.
We're going for the Make America Great Again audience now. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, we're
No,
going for the fascist angle.
yeah, whoa, fascist Politdigm. That's the real
The,
people.
the,
Oh,
the, the evil twin with like red eyes.
yeah, that's the evil twin with red eyes, which Project Pop is actually
Yeah, is
profits
that
over people.
exactly?
Uh,
Is that people over profits?
people over. No,
No,
people over
it's
profits.
profits over people.
That's the people over profits is us. We
Yeah,
care more about the people. They care more about the profits. Anyways,
exactly.
but yeah, if you want to
It's
support
kind of like
us,
this slight, yeah.
this fucking outro is a mess. But if you want to support us, make sure to support us on Patreon. You'll get access to a section in our Discord
Stuff.
where you'll be able to have debates. We'll be able to submit content ideas. Where you'll be able to, most importantly, relating to the podcast, you'll be able to submit your Q&A questions. Where in this section of the episode, each week we'll answer your questions to the best of our abilities, and we'll have fun with you guys. And
And emphasis on portion because the Discord is free now. Is that
exactly,
right?
because
Which we
starting
should really say at the beginning of the episode.
true. That's a good point. I'm gonna keep that in mind for next episode.
Write that down.
All right, I'm gonna write that down. Write that down. But
I was
yeah,
not joking. You're gonna forget that.
yeah, but yeah, the Discord is now open. You guys can join. You can talk to us. Before it was only for Patreon members, but it's now open. We thought that hey, it doesn't make sense to be fully paid for. So yes, it is now open. Join it. There's still nobody there. We feel lonely. Please join.
Don't bring me into
Please.
this conversation. I
Ah.
feel discomfortable. I don't know this person.
But
There is no one behind me.
whoa. But yeah, make sure to join the Discord. If the links, if you're watching the podcast on YouTube, which seems to be most people, which is fine. I'll fuck with that. Uh, make sure to
I
check
do.
out the links in the description. Will be I think the first or second link. In the description will be our Discord. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this on Spotify, Amazon Podcasts or Music, or fuck, I don't even know which one it is anymore. There's like three of them.
And
Amazon is
video.
confusing. Yeah, because there's also Audible and there's Amazon Music. There's Amazon Podcast. What
And
the
there's Kindle.
fuck? Right. So yeah, Amazon got your shit in check. Also pay your workers, and or if you're listening to Google Podcasts, or I think that's it, or on our website, which probably I don't think anybody actually does. I don't even know if we can actually check that statistic, but I don't care. I can see the other ones, I guess. But yeah, if you're on our website, then it's pretty easy. Just check out the little tab on the right. If you're on the streaming services, I don't know, go to Politdigm or on any social media, and you'll find our link tree with the link. It'll be the second one or the first one. I
And
don't
of
know.
course, if you're part of the broad, well, if you're part of the board of a big company that or corporation that we have offended during these episodes, it is, of course, sarcasm.
Sarcasm,
Completely.
and we definitely don't think you guys should all go fuck yourselves.
Yeah, that's a joke. It's a funny joke when
It's a
I say that you are amoral and that you should commit the non-existing.
okay, it's not does not wish on people's deaths. However, we
I
do
do wish on a
hope.
redistribution of wealth.
I do hope that you lose all your wealth, and then you have to also feel the pains of capitalism, and that you
Yeah.
feel the pains of the world you have created, and then
You know,
when you cry for
you're
help to your old board member friends that they don't help you, and then you feel the pain that it is to be in that position, right?
I bet you have to pay over $1,000 for a basic surgery and you can't afford it because you lost all your money.
Yeah, because you were too greedy.
Or
Anyways,
because you
thank
spent
you
it
so
all on
much for
hookers.
watching. Whoa, thank you.
That is
Whoa.
another angle.
That's a whole different angle. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate
Yeah.
everybody that watched this podcast and reads our stuff and is there here for us. Next week, if you follow us on Instagram, there's going to be a pulse check, so you guys will have a little question there for you guys to answer. So yeah, see you all in the next episode. Anything you want to say, Alpha?
No, as always, be good people and hate capitalism.
Hate capitalism and yeah, thank you so much for watching. And we'll see everybody in the next episode. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.